Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Total War Warhammer 2 The Shadow and the Blade, where things are going actually remarkably well. I was really worried about this thing where we get into open armed conflict with the Empire on their territory, but we have burned a ton of their soldiers over the past couple of episodes, and I think, the amount of dudes they're pulling back to fight us has got to be really weakening them in the northeast, and them losing control of the northeast to chaos when it eventually happens is going to weaken their economic base even further. I feel like, maybe there's not a lot of hard evidence to support this assertion, but I feel like we may have pushed them over a tipping point here. I think it's going to get better for us from here. Easier. So, we need to get on the march. We need to get doing some damage. We need to decide if we are going to attempt to do a Vermintide on Altdorf. This would be a little easier if I had a scout in the area. Can we pull you back to a position where you're able to see stuff? We can get all the way over to here. Is there a road? I don't think there's a road that goes down the river. I guess if they needed to move stuff down the river, they would just use the river, right? So that makes sense. I'm just thinking, if there's no army in Altdorf, we could just march up there and take it in a military battle with just what we have. I mean, obviously, even if we do spawn a Vermintide, we're still taking it in a military battle. But maybe it would be worth spawning a Vermintide anyway, just to get access to some upgraded troops. What exactly is spawning? Hold on, let's see if the Vermintide building says on it. Do we have any idea what spawns from this? A Skaven army is summoned upon completion. No, we don't know anything about what's going to spawn in here, except that due to enormous caches, we know it will contain a Plague Claw catapult. And then, due to a couple of other things, we know there'll be some more clan rats in there than there otherwise would have been. We definitely got some texts that do that. Yeah, some texts that have these lines on them. So, I guess we'll just have to find out. I want to do it. I'm going to spawn us a Vermintide, if only because I want to know. So let's put that up. It's going to take 1 turn to build this, and then 5 turns to build the Vermintide building afterward. In that time, it is at least theoretically possible that the Undercity will get discovered and burned out before we can complete it. We will hope that that does not happen. And we'll remove some of these other buildings as we approach it, so that we don't have the discoverability issue. As you can see here, the Rat King building has 140. You know what? Why don't we just pull these right now? It is going to suck a little bit income-wise for a moment here, but then we're going to be taking Altdorf anyway, so we would have lost the income either way. How close are we to having... Okay, we're 2 turns off of these guys being back, 9 turns off of the Doom Wheel being recruitable again. It's a shame to lose that Doom Wheel, because it did some really good work for us. Well, I think it goes without saying we want to hunt this guy down. We probably want Bilefitch Stab to be the one to initiate that battle, just for the sake of experience points. Our dude is getting closer and closer to 15. Alright, solid ambush. Get that food. Ooh, and we got some warp fuel from that. Happy to see it. A Talisman of Endurance. You know, I have not been going over our equipment, but we definitely need to re-equip our dudes a little bit. Alright, Arcane Conduit is a wonderful thing. I assume it's a little bit less effective than Unlimited Power, but it also doesn't have the miscast chance. And you, Survivalist, I guess, is next. I don't know that he really needs charge bonus all that badly, but can't go wrong with more HP. Also, for some reason, it jumped me back to... Okay, well, I did say I was going to look at our equipment. He probably ought to have a pretty good ward save, because I send him into situations that are dangerous frequently. So yeah, I'll give him the big Talisman of Preservation. That's a lot of damage reduction. And then he has another 10% ward save from his armor. I think we're probably going to stick with that. So that's a flat 30% damage reduction between those two things. Plus he has a Potion of Healing. Plus he has this very good sword. It'll be even better when we are fighting vampires in the somewhat near future. Give him a messenger as well. It's good to go over your characters every once in a while and just make sure they're equipped in a way that makes sense. Do we have any followers or banners that I would rather he carry? This probably doesn't make a lot of sense. He's not going to be in the enemy missile units all that often. Oh, he should definitely have a scribe. Absolutely. Plus movement range? That's not even a thinker. We definitely want to keep these two. Honestly, we're not getting a lot of value out of this bell polisher, I don't think. He doesn't need a breeder. Do we want an artifact hunter? Yeah, you know what? Magic items are nice. And then obviously he's got his legendary items. We don't want to mess with those. The obsidian lodestone doesn't make a lot of sense, but I don't think we need to give him any of this other resistance stuff, because he usually is not engaging in a lot of physical combat. He doesn't get hit all that often. Mostly he takes damage from himself from overcasting. He really doesn't need this potion of speed either. Frankly, he doesn't really need any of this stuff. I might just unequip. Well, we'll give him a potion of healing. If the enemy does target him, that'll give us some way back into the fight. And then the Wand of Jet, I think, makes a lot of sense. Channeling Staff lets you lower ability recharge. I don't think we need that. Okay. Let's make sure we're passing out some of this value to other people. So Bilefitch probably could use some upgrades. His glittering scales, I think, are okay. Reducing the melee attack of enemies that get nearby. Means I should probably be playing him a little closer to the front of the battle lines. He really doesn't need a gold sigil sword, but I don't think we need to unequip it from him, because I don't think anybody else needs it either. And similar to Ikit, he doesn't really need toughness stuff. Reduction in the effectiveness of nearby flying units, I think, is okay. Since he's standing, by our troops a lot, if anything goes in for a flying charge, it'll be easier to fight once it completes its charge. Okay, I think he's pretty good. Magic resistance is a pretty weak bonus. What does the Storm Banner do again? Oh, the Storm Banner is a thing, not that we would equip on him, but that we would give to a unit in his army. Actually, maybe we do want to put this on Ikit Claw then, because he could put it on one of those units of Doomflayers. The Doomflayers get up in the enemy range all the time. I still don't. It's such a small reduction. It probably doesn't matter. I do like the Scarecrow banner. Lowers the leadership of enemy units around the assigned unit. But I think that's probably the only change we're making here. And then we have Vomik up here. Now Vomik should have some actual weaponry. Yeah, he has this thing, which of course is good. It's constantly dealing damage to enemies near him. He has his Shrieking Blade. His Dawnstone could get replaced with an actual piece of fighting gear. I know we don't send him into melee all the time, but it's good for him to be good at melee. And honestly, I think aside from that, his equipment is pretty solid. And that means for the half stack that we have down here, we actually do have some items left over. You may as well be ready to fight if dudes show up. So what is the difference between these two? This is -5 melee attack for all enemies within 30 meters. This is also that thing. But this one has 3 armor. Those two pieces of armor are very similar. You probably will not be engaging in a lot of direct melee combat, so I'm not gonna... I mean, we may as well give you a weapon. We have enough weapons. We'll give you a ward save bonus. I feel like this should go on one of the melee fighters. I guess we only have the one assassin and the one assassin lord, huh? Alright, you know what? Take it. And then we don't have a casting thing for you. I'll give you the potion of speed. That's more of a running away item than a running in item. We can increase the enemy's miscast chance, which doesn't actually seem any good. Yeah, you know what? We have an extra Wand of Jet laying around. You can have that. And then growth. Give you a Man-Thing Slave, because we definitely, like, if we get attacked down here, there's a reasonable chance it will be by men. And then I guess just stuff to fill the slots, right? Okay. Little bit of bookkeeping and whatnot done. Let's get back to the murders. Two things really go hand in hand. Okay. We have more agents around here to keep trying to kill. Just trying to reduce the enemy's intelligence about the situation. That's a shame. We had a really good chance of nailing that. So, if we're not planning on pushing Altdorf right now, because we do want to try our Vermintide building out, does that mean we want to go to Grunberg first? It probably does. I kind of want to get into a position to set up a trap. Let's see about that. Let's, like... Go to here and see if we can catch people moving between the two cities.
Cloaking.
We are very sneaky. It's an extremely sneaky group of several thousand Skaven. But I think we may have gone too far out on the scouting. I'm going to try to loop back around. But do I want it to be a loop back around, or do I want to go back the way I came? There are things down here. We are still actually at war with the Golden Order, which means troops could come up from the south. Yeah, you know what? I want him to go back south and come around that way. We need to keep getting some idea of what's going on out here. Alright, speaking of what's going on, let's have a look at the Undercity beneath Castle Drakenhof. We have not done a lot of upgrading over here because we were very busy elsewhere, but Castle Drakenhof is making a ton of cash. It's entirely possible that this is wasted time, because, you know, it seems like this might get burned down by dwarves at any moment. Do I want to do this? Hold on a second. So we can get minus 40 discoverability, but actually, with this thing producing 20... we probably only want one of the income buildings in this spot and both of the discoverability reductions. I'm a little leery of that, though, for losing vision reasons. Right, the deeper tunnels will kill our vision over the area. Still, it's a lot of extra money. If we do that, that means that we don't get to have a mining area. Yeah, alright, we'll upgrade our mining. We'll upgrade our discoverability reduction, and we'll just live with a small amount of discoverability until we can get a settlement nearby. This is why I usually want to put that initial mining area not in the major settlement, but adjacent to the major settlement. So that when we get into the major settlement, it can all be discoverability and money stuff. That's going to be pretty good, though. Even the lowest level of that building gives us 20% of the city's income, so it's going to be over 1,000 gold per turn from Drakenhof, in addition to getting to know what's going on over there. What could you possibly want, Aranessa? Boy, she really hates that we are friends with those Norskins. I will say this, our whole alliance is pretty weird. Alright, I think this turn will be cool to move out of Gorsel. That army needed to sit still and heal up a little bit. Oh no! Morlock has been wounded. So he'll be off the table for 5 turns, probably. And then he will reappear at one of our nearby settlements. Actually, I don't know if he'll reappear at a nearby settlement. He might reappear at the capital. I can't really make heads or tails of what's happening over here. The dwarves are at war with the vampires. And there's just that one vampire settlement, and it's got a big garrison, but it doesn't have the army in there has no units in it. It's currently recruiting. This is the moment to attack, and the dwarves are just kind of like running around it in circles for no reason, letting the vampires build up. So clearly there are still some issues with the AI. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Is that Bretonnian raiding in my territory? Or did he move into Aranessa's? Because if he's raiding in my territory, he and I are about to have some words. I think Vashnar may be headed over there to take that Norskin settlement back from Coron. One of your warlock engineers has found a new way to enrich warpstone. Unfortunately, a laboratory explosion occurred the following day, leaving behind nothing but a pile of eerily glowing warpstone dust. Well, it does do that. So we can enrich the warpstone dust, and then, you know, enjoy it to experience apocalyptic visions. Wow, that's a big buff. That is a huge buff. But we'll lose 4 points of loyalty off of Remamute. Remamute's the one down south who's just sitting in the city, right? We can make Remamute inhale all the dust. Frenzy and weapon strength and melee attack on a wizard, not really terribly useful. Even with the extra combat stats, he's still going to be too bad at fighting. We could forbid further experimentation. Now, I think I kind of want that warpstone dust. It seems very good. Let's have a look at what his loyalty is actually at, because I don't have any idea. Okay, he was at 10. -4 loyalty puts him at 6. He'll be fine. Okay, let's go get Grunberg. Should be simple enough. And once again, Ikit Claw is playing support. We want Bilefitch leading these attacks. He got almost a full level's worth of experience off of beating that tiny little recruiting army last turn. Obviously occupy. Look at all the warp fuel. Alright, here in Grunberg, destroy this thing. Let's try this. Oh yeah, we definitely want to build the food building here. Does Eilhart need the recruitment structure? Probably. It's probably okay for that to be there. Alright, Ikit Claw should, like I keep saying, finish getting his magic spells. I don't know why clicking on his stats keeps warping us over to his other skills page. That's weird. And then, I mean, we're right next to Nuln. It's Nuln and Wissenberg are the same? Okay, and also Dotternbach, which I don't remember. Maybe that's a new settlement. I don't know. They've definitely been messing with the map over the course of the upgrades. So Nuln is an important place, but it looks like it does not have a landmark building for us, because it doesn't have the little landmark building icon. Just trying to figure out what I think our next move is. For right now, the move is Ikit Claw sits right here and recruits some clan rats to fill the empty slot in his army, thanks to that recruitment building. Or maybe he doesn't, because next turn we'll be able to recruit these guys. Yeah, we'll just do that. So instead, he prepares an ambush. Anybody who thinks they can defeat this army of Skaven slaves is in for a rude surprise. And for real, could you maybe go away? It's remarkable how difficult it is for him to kill this random wizard. There we go. That'll do. Honestly, we should probably have more than one agent out here in the world doing this kind of thing. Yeah, sure. Produce me some iron. Why not? So, what do we want to use all this warp fuel for? We've been on a pretty lucky streak here. We can't build another rocket for 3 turns, so maybe I would just want to take some upgrades to Doomflayers. I'd really like to get more Doomflayers in the army. We have not stopped to do, like, recruiting and upgrading of our armies in a very long time. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and take Doom Diagnostics. Like, the way we use them, that's almost the only thing they're for, is charging into infantry, so it seems like a total no-brainer. And that earns us fancy armor that gives missile resistance. I'll be honest with you, that is probably going to go on the wizard. I'm just thinking the missile resistance in particular is not super relevant for anybody right now, because we don't have a lot of... Oh, can he not wear it? Hold on. Did we get a notification for that? I would have assumed it was available to any lord. Is Ikit Claw allowed to wear it? He is. I was going to say that because we are eventually going to put the wizard on a mount that is very large, and being large makes you vulnerable to missile fire. I guess we'll worry about it later. We're certainly not taking off Ikit Claw's legendary armor. Okay, and Gorsel definitely needs to start a defensive building later. Right now what it needs is to be upgraded off of tier 1. Well, I guess that means we could just like put in a growth building. That's nice and cheap and it has income on it. And how's his army doing? They're in alright shape. I'm gonna have them move back to friendly territory. Or actually back over to here. Is this army gonna be the one that grabs the Eshin Triads maybe then? They certainly fit better here. Wait, aren't we in Eilhart? Shouldn't I be able to recruit clan rats? Oh, I can. I can, I just don't have the money. Yeah, fair enough. So it wouldn't matter. I can't have Ikit Claw start any recruiting this turn anyway, because we are broke. You can go through an awful lot of money very, very quickly in this game. Alright, but we got this committed. We are going to see what a Vermintide army looks like, if only for the sake of science, and you know how we feel, as a people, about science. I wonder if we're ever going to get okay on food. I'm just thinking about how we keep expanding our Undercity outward. Like, I know the Undercity in the northwest burned down. Count Noctilus taking his own life in his hands here. Very dangerous to be up on Ulthuan with a single stack. They discovered the Undercity in Altdorf. That bodes ill. It is probably dead. So what we know now is that even with considerable discoverability reduction and everything, it is too unlikely that you will actually get to use the Vermintide. That's a real shame. Maybe this is just like really bad luck on our part. I don't actually know what the dice rolls look like for the discoverability. It's possible that like each turn they have a 20% chance to discover it at this level of discoverability or something, and we just, like I say, got unlucky on the first roll. Alright, so Ubersreich is getting its garrison assaulted over and over again by this random dude. Arnau looks like it may fall to the Wood Elves, which is... well, maybe they'll just burn it down instead of occupying it. I believe the Wood Elves have a restriction on the type of settlements that they can have outside of the forest. So we'll just grab 2 units of this, and I will recruit the Eshin Triads there, I think. Alright, our man is at level 14. We're getting there. We should definitely get Earthing and Magical Reserves both before we move on. Do we want Kemperbad? So, we don't actually know where these other settlements are, which means that they are around here, right? It's the areas that we haven't explored. And I guess we gotta take everything from the Empire eventually. We need this faction to not exist anymore. I get that installed. Now that it's discovered, it doesn't help. So we didn't have the extra minus 40 discoverability that we could have had. That would have taken us down to below the discoverability cap, at least. Okay, so maybe the Vermintide's a little bit more concealable than it seemed to be there. We can hope that they just don't have the resources to mess with it right now. But I'm wondering if we need to make a move on Altdorf this turn to try to distract them. Now let's go grab Kemperbad. We could do that. We will give the Vermintide a turn or two to resolve while we create distractions elsewhere. This entire war is a big diversionary tactic. I mean, the thing is, like, it has to work in such a way that you have a chance to respond to it, right? It couldn't be the case that we can set up a Vermintide or a Doom Sphere or something where it would be likely the enemy would not discover it before it went off, because you need to have some level of counterplay. I was just a little surprised that it got discovered so quickly. Alright. What are we looking at here? 9%. He won't even attempt it. But I'm going to leave him right where he is then. He can grab that guy next turn. So Ikitclaw is still on the Reichland side of the line here. So we'll go ahead and grab those Clanrat Spears. We'll recruit the Eshin Triads in Vomik's army next turn, right before we move out to go somewhere else. The Skaven Rebel army at Grungzint is maybe actually going to destroy Grungzint because there are almost no Bretonnian troops in the world. They're all over here at the Isle of Wights. I think this is going really well. A lot of our enemies are suffering. A lot of our friends are prospering. Like, as a whole, I think we're in a good place here. So we have a whole bunch of money that we can spend, and I know not what to spend it on. What is the most important stuff? I guess getting Helmgart leveled up is important. You gotta make sure that garrison is growing constantly. Carrick Ziflin is already moving toward having proper walls, which means all of our settlements in this area are walled except for Gorsel, which can't be because we still need population. Boy, oh boy, do we need population over here. We got to get Marienburg leveled back up. This port gets so good eventually. So I guess Bordelot is a priority beyond that, because Bordelot also has a special high-level port. Ooh, and it has the Morceau Valley Orchards. That's a lot of wine. It's actually a lot of wine. 42 barrels from the lowest level version of this building. Most of the trade buildings give like 20 of the thing that they give at level 1. And then I suppose our next concern is like, where is public order negative and falling? Stuff is rough in Coron. Do we have enough money? We do have enough money to start a bell. Let's start a bell. That will be necessary. And Massif Orcal is still negative as well, even with a bell. It needs a better bell. That scroll bar is incredibly sensitive. Of course, the wasteland is all screwed up. We could turn off taxation here, but honestly, we have an army near Marienburg. I think I'm inclined to just let the rebellion spawn. We'll deal with it. So you're not going anywhere, and I think we're just going to pass the turn with 1900 gold up. It feels weird, but I think it's the right thing to do. Hold on, what is this? What am I doing? That building in Ubersreich should really be a growth building. We need growth fairly badly. Alright, let's see if they destroy our Undercity. Big elf factions glomming together. I don't think we need Lothern to be dead in order to win the game. So that's a peripheral threat. We got to pay attention, but we don't necessarily need to worry about them in the same way that we have to worry about like the Empire getting strong. Ian Helborg is moving on Ubersreich. That's fine. That means he has abandoned Altdorf. Oh, they really respawned this many armies, huh? That's fine. We're in position to handle it. And the fighting is good for us. It's the only way for us to maintain the food count. We need to continue buying upgrades. Speaking of which, I probably should have bought an upgrade last turn. The AI sieges walled settlements so slowly and for such a long time. Part of the reason that it's important to get walls up around your own stuff is that the AI is terrified of attacking a walled settlement.
No time. Experiments to do.
What does Vashnar want? He wants us to join the war against Coron. I don't know that there's a lot of value in that for me. And your opinion of me is still trending positive? Nah, no thanks. Your death will be slow but painful. I mean, we're still friends, but how dare you? Okay. Let's get some stuff done. Are there heroes in this army for you to kill? No, but you could just run over here and have at these units. Yeah, go ahead and do that. Alright, you just, I don't know, continue to grab stuff. If we're going to take a point here, it's probably precise. Weapon damage is very good. Then these guys, I'm a little surprised to see Karl Franz move past Grunberg to Nuln. Maybe he was worried that because we have an army so close, or two armies so close rather, he was worried that he would get blown up if he took Grunberg, which is correct. It's just not a level of restraint you usually see from the AI. How do we want to handle this? So, like, Vomik is moving toward Reichland. Maybe we stop here and go into ambush mode so that they think that they are safe to move out or something. Do I think he would attack Helmgart? He might. And it might be beneficial to us to prevent him from doing it. Helmgart's garrison is definitely a lot better than it used to be. What's the Skaven corruption in this region? 44%. So that's a fair number of free charges of, what do you call it? Fair number of free charges of the menace below. I'm going to let them attack Helmgart if they want. We'll stay here, we'll stay stealthy. They cannot defeat us in the field, I don't think. We will recruit these guys right now, just in case they do attack us in the field. Want to be ready. So, unfortunately, my other agent in this area was defeated, and so our map information is a little bit weaker than I would like it to be. Ikit Claw can make it to Nuln. I think I'm just going to move to near Grunberg and go into ambush stance here. If we can get him on an ambush, cool. If not, it's fine. It doesn't matter too much. We do the same thing with you. And then this way we're ready to attack Altdorf next turn, if it looks like that's a thing that makes sense. And Kemperbad, I guess, can build... I mean, it doesn't matter. We're not going to hold Kemperbad. I'll turn off taxation here, because a rebellion there would not be beneficial to us. Ziflin is one turn off. Oh, you know what? Let's remove this and get the... They have a trade good here. Let's get that trade good building up instead. And then we still have a tiny little bit of money that we could use to buy this. That's fine. And they did remove the Undercity under Altdorf. A shame. Yeah, they probably have pretty close to infinite money, given the size of the empire, which is a shame. Do we need to remove this province from them, I wonder? I don't really want to have to push an army south. Maybe this is a time for this army over here to start coming north. Interesting. While I wasn't paying attention, the Wood Elves took Xerexil. We'd have to push through some of Carrick Norn's land, and Carrick Norn is at war with us. Actually, we might be able to break up Carrick Norn, though. And especially now that we're no longer potentially going to have to pay for a Vermintide army for a little while, we might want to go ahead and just staff Remamute up and have him push up as a wrecking ball. Yeah, alright, that'll be a priority for the near future. Something to do with our income for the next few turns. I was content to just leave him as a supplementary defense stack to back up city garrisons in the area until it was time to fight the Wood Elves, but it looks like things are going to be a little bit more complicated than I first thought. Okay, Bilefitch's ambush being spoiled is actually maybe a good thing for us, because it might lead Karl Franz's army to attack. Okay, he's going to go resettle Carrick Asgaraz. This is fine. This is not not a thing that is worth trying to defend. Yep, it did in fact work out the way I wanted it to. He sees this garbage army and rolls right up. Maybe honestly, from a strategic perspective, maybe the smart play would have been to not have Bilefitch be in ambush mode at all. Just use him as bait, and we get a terrible little. A terrible settlement garrison led by a guy named Knife the Vomitus, which is, you know, you gotta appreciate his commitment to the Skaven naming aesthetic. I'm gonna go ahead and just take the auto-resolve on this. It's a nice clean ambush battle. How many units did we lose? Actually, almost none, wow. Okay, I'll say this, the auto-resolve outperformed what we would have done manually there. It's a huge amount of money gained for defeating an army. We also stole somebody's armor of silvered steel. That's pretty cool. It's probably enough XP to push Bilefitch up to 15. It's a big deal. Also, Ikit Claw has become the Reichshammer, which, again, doesn't really matter because I believe Terror only has an effect on enemies that are actually engaged in melee combat with the unit that has the Terror, and he's not going to end up in melee combat very much. Alright, we definitely have to retake Ubersreich now, though. The most dangerous thing that could possibly happen here is the Wood Elves getting control of some portion of the Empire Heartland, and us never being able to take it from them safely. There's a kind of a problem with having allies, is that there's no way to negotiate with people over like what bits of territory should belong to who, and so if your ally takes a settlement, it's just theirs forever, effectively. And I mean, the Wood Elves are not permanent allies. We do have to kill them at some point. But I'd really like to hold all of Reichland first. The growing intellects and egos of Scryer's warlock engineers have necessitated that the laboratory facilities are expanded. The Forbidden Workshop has now been upgraded. The new Warp Tech Lab is equipped with the best possible equipment and facilities available, enabling the research of more advanced parts. And through the building and field testing of myriad weapons and the burning of millions of pitiful victims, you have gained an unequaled knowledge of martial technologies. The Forbidden Workshop has now been upgraded. I think what happened here is that we already had the requirements for the final upgrade level, so when he hit 15, we got both of the remaining levels at once. In the laboratories of the Great Warp Forge, even the secrets of energy, space, and time are seemingly at your call, and the rules of physics manipulated at your whim for the purposes of forging destruction and murder. Further part upgrades are now available. Let's have a look here. Yep, we are maxed out. So this was just have a warpstone reactor and have it get Claw be level 25, which, yeah, we did millions of turns ago. So we now have access to all of the upgrades. I was kind of hoping that the final level was going to be something more than that, like it was going to be some passive buffs to our cool units or something. But whatever, I mean, more upgrades is good. So, Doom Rocket's off cooldown. We need food. Let's go ahead and commit this. We'll grab magical reserves. And then, I don't know, we'll probably take Death Frenzy. We'll worry about it later. Karl Franz is dead once again, and that means Nuln has just its base garrison, but honestly, Nuln's base garrison is probably pretty good. In case you are unfamiliar with the lore, Nuln is, I believe, where the Empire's guns are built mostly. Oh, interesting, they don't have an extra garrison building. And they do have some important technological stuff. There's a wizard's tower here, a cathedral, the Nuln Gunnery School, which is definitely helping them. A tailor's guild, which is providing an awful lot of cash. Yeah, man, maybe we do want to break Nuln open, since we kind of have an opportunity here. How do we want to do this? Probably the smart move is Bilefitch leads the attack. Ikit moves into just barely assistance range, and then Ikit Claw falls back and defends Grunberg in ambush mode. We might be able to bait Ulrich Bugelhoff into attacking, and Bilefitch can be the one who loses all of his movement and fights the and sits in the city for a turn. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and auto-resolve that. Get me in there. Unfortunately, wow, 10,000 gold for that, huh? Do I want to just sack it this turn and then actually take it over? I mean, if I'm not going to be able to put in food to occupy it at a higher level, I suppose that's a totally reasonable thing to do, right? Oh, no, wait. Sorry, do nothing. That's the wrong army. Why did it switch which army I had selected? Okay, you go ahead and occupy it. You get back to here and lay out the ambush. I should maybe have done that manually. I was thinking it's going to be an easy enough battle. We don't need to see that same siege battle again. But doing it to try to minimize the damage... Well, you know what? All the damage went onto the troops that probably would have had to have been damaged in order to take the thing anyway. I don't know that I would have gotten a much better result manually. Alright, there's absolutely no reason not to have him max out his yellow line, I suppose. But maybe this would be a good time to start grabbing like points and assassinate. So if it's really relevant, we can have him jump out of the army, kill an enemy character, and then jump back in the next turn or something. It would be 6 points to totally max out assassinate between the two skills. Yeah, alright, let's do that. Who knows when we might need it. Alright, so we'll just reclaim Ubersreich totally trivially. Ooh, double barrel, twice the firepower. Comes with a guide on how to load both barrels at the same time. If only more of our crew could read. So that's a missile damage improvement weapon. You don't actually see a ton of those. We probably want to give that to him over his Shrieking Blade. Because he does spend a lot of his time in battle doing missile damage, right? Yeah, I like that quite a bit. Also, he has a skill point. Well, we don't need mutagenic elixirs. I was pushing him up the yellow line. I think that's still the right thing to do. So probably Blade Master, which could be 12 points of melee attack versus a very large amount of damage. Melee attack's at 63 right now. Yeah, we could use a little bit more melee attack for fighting like combat-focused characters. His stats are well high enough at this point for him to engage with any kind of normal combat unit, but combat-minded characters might still be a challenge for him. Volkmar the Grim is here. Well, let's go harass him. Okay, Pet Wolf Rat, very welcome. Getting even better at assassinations. Even better at assaulting units. A-Rat is a total monster at this point. He can just run into the middle of an army and kick everybody's ass and disappear into the night. I kind of dig the goofy mad scientist / ninja thing of the Skaven. The Skaven are just a really neat faction, and only about half of that is coming from my deep affinity for rats. So we're somewhat discoverable right now. Do I want to cut the thieves' hidey holes and just build the other? Yeah, maybe I do for a little while. Alright, I know we just built this. We netted positive on that, but that was an error. I should upgrade this, build the other discoverability reducing building, just get deep underground, and try to expand out into the dwarf holds and stuff near Castle Drakenhof. We'll give up our vision. It's fine. Alright, and that means that it is time to start recruiting for this army, which means it is time for this army to move out of Miragliano back to Skaven Blight, right?
All hail, horned rat. Skitterpuckle.
I do wish we could set up some docks over here. Okay, so 5 turns left on the Doom Wheel, and the Doom Wheel's getting summoned back to the front lines anyway. What does this army need? We have probably enough catapults. We have some gun teams. I would like some Doom Flayers. A Doom Wheel is fine, but I wonder. I actually kind of think a Doom Flayer is. Doom Flayers are probably actually more effective at killing lots of enemy ranged units quickly because there's 4 of them, so they can each be attacking different units or different figures. I'm gonna go so far as to say 3 units of Doom Flayers. And then, you know what? I'm going to grab a Warp Lightning Cannon as well to help deal with, like, tanks and monsters and stuff. You saw how much damage the Doom Flayers did to, like, war wagons. They're very, very good at picking off big, heavily armored enemy thingies. And then, do we need more ranged? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to have a little bit of trouble being objective about the ranged because I think Rattling Guns are the coolest. They look super cool when they're firing. They're just a joy to have in the army. So part of me just wants to recruit more Rattling Guns. But as things stand right now, this army's not great at dealing with large things in melee combat. So I wonder if maybe we should pick up some Eshin Triads for, like, wrap-around flanking purposes. We put a couple of those in the queue, and then that's 2 full turns of local recruitment. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. And then we have enough money that we can pursue some other upgrades in other places. So here, it would definitely make sense to upgrade the Warp Lightning capacitors. Got to continue working on that infrastructure and income generation when possible. Is this a big upgrade? It is 1,600 gold for a small amount of additional wine and 10. Probably in most places, it's going to make more sense. It's another 10% income upgrade for 6750. Yeah, probably in most places it's going to make more sense for us to upgrade Britonia. Skaven corruption up in all adjacent... So all of our provinces will bleed 6 additional Skaven corruption into their adjacent provinces. Honestly, this is probably worth building at this point where we're expanding rapidly because it means we'll have more Menace Below charges available for exterior battles. So I'm just going to go ahead and plow 1,300 gold into the Shattered Tower. 13,000 gold, rather. Boy, I wish it was 1,300. We can cap out Castle Carcassonne, which seems like maybe a good idea. Well, you know what? I don't know if it's the highest priority, though. Over here, we're having public order issues, so we should definitely upgrade the food building. And I guess Does it make more sense to turn off taxation here, or to pull this for a bell? If we turn off taxation, this building does almost nothing. Because that income generated there is taxes. I think let's do this for right now. We'll figure out whether we want to install a bell or something later. Massif Orkal is probably going to be like the headquarters of the fight against the elves eventually, so we should build it up with that in mind. Portalo can give me an additional... Man, that's a pretty big difference in the amount of wine output. But I think maybe we'd be better off like just building the other money building for the moment. And then I suppose this would be an okay time for our once per episode check of who would like to trade with me. Unfortunately, Clan Pestilence is starting to view us as a rival, that great power modifier. They think we plan to take over all Skaven everywhere, and they're 100% correct on that.
What foolish errand brings you before me? Understood.
I thought we... Oh, I should have asked for money. I thought we had a trade agreement with them. I wonder if it got broken by them losing access to their ports temporarily or something. They're probably going to get wiped out, it looks like. It's based on the way that the High Elf flags are spreading across Dark Elf territory. But it looks like Nagarond is hanging on. Maybe between Harganeth and Nagarond they can create some kind of counter push. I don't know. It's not very likely. Lilthern is strength rank 1. Look at the might of them. 61 settlements. I imagine they're going to defeat anyone that they are currently up against. We should have a quick look at our objectives. I don't have to kill them, right? No, here's my murder list. Coron will be dead soon. We're working on Reichland. Sylvania is a problem still. And then the pirates in Talsin have no idea. No idea at all what our eventual plans are coming to. And Ubersreich, you know what? I'm just going to demolish this. I'm not repairing that building. I don't care about it enough. Okay, we might have a rebellion in this area, and that would be a real shame because without the capital settlement, it will spawn near one of the other settlements, and I don't know what the rules are for that. It might be random. I don't know how to be sure that we will be able to defend against it. So, it makes me nervous a little bit. Okay. That was a big turn. It was a big productive turn. We have 21 food and 15... I'm going to build a Doom Rocket for sure. It doesn't make any sense for us to spend anything... Yeah, we don't need to spend anything before doing this. Did not get the lucky extra Doom Rocket. And then, upgrades. We have claw-crafted bullets available. Ooh, rattling gun damage up for everybody. That's 7 food. I think I'm going to take it, though. We use a lot of rattling guns. You guys have Craven rounds, extra 12% range, and plus 25... Boy, that's pretty good. Let's take some of that, and then we're out of food. That's good. I feel good about those buys. Those were definitely useful. The Iris of the Chaos Moon, increasing range. We do need to get some more Poison Wind Mortars in some of these armies, because I've been very pleased with their performance so far. At some point, the front armies will calm down, and we'll have time to chill out and restructure and upgrade the units. We shouldn't be running around with a stack that's all Skaven slaves. Like, there's not a good use of the logistics money that we're paying for having that army around. The thing is, we have all this momentum, and I am worried about losing it. And to be clear, what I'm talking about when I say momentum... they saw through Ikit Claw's ambush. What I'm talking about when I say momentum here is, like, the limited ability for our enemies to generate large armies to chase us around and stuff. This is pretty bad. If we fall back, we're going to end up outside of settlement garrison range. The question is whether it would get us out of Ulrich Bugelhoff's chase range as well. I think it wouldn't. I think we might just lose Ikit Claw's army here. I'm going to try it. Let's see. Is it... Oh no, it's moving us away from Nuln, not toward Nuln. Maybe he'll just attack Grunberg, though. Yeah, okay, that's a way better outcome for us. And then he doesn't claim it. Okay, well, that's an interesting maneuver on their part. And when I say interesting in that tone of voice, what you should be hearing is wrong. That was a wrong maneuver on their part. Hi. What's up, Manfred von Karstein? You'll give me 1,000 gold to promise that I won't attack you. Absolutely. Hey, listen, I'll promise anything. If you want to give me 1,000 gold to promise you that I am not a rat, I'll do it. So has Taliesin actually attacked Arnau? Okay, yes. So that means that the only... And they just won a battle outside of it as well. I wonder if that was a Bretonnian army come back to try to reclaim. Alright, we do have kind of a complicated turn coming up because of the number of Empire armies that we're seeing here. Ooh. Why do the Border Princes have so many armies north of Sylvania? Maybe maybe the Empire called them to aid against chaos. They rode up there to fight, and then it was not terribly out of their way to go fight some vampires. Vashnar burned down that settlement rather than settle it themselves. What I'm wondering is if that means that Corona is out of settlements. They still have Grungzint. They do have Grungzint. I wonder if that rebellion army got defeated or if it just never attacked. Where is my assassin? He's over here by Altdorf. Okay, is there a character in Volkamar's army? There is not, but his army is very weak. Can you reach this guy this turn? Yeah, it looks like it. Please put him away. Wow, he is high level. Look at that. Still, better than a coin flip chance of knocking him off the board. Because Erat is very specialized at this point with his followers and stuff. Okay. Merely a wound. Still pretty good. Let's upgrade Ubersreich with some growth. I would really love to get some buildings established in the Reichland. And then Vomik has a completely trivial kill here because his army is in terrible shape and also lucky ambush. I'm going to need food. We have lots and lots of upgrades to buy. Ooh, look at that. Melee attack and defense +3 for all of the melee units in his army. That's super cool. That's a really, really good trait. I kind of wish we'd had other people involved in that battle so they could also have gotten the benefit there. Let's finish off Blade Master. It's only 4 points? Yeah, okay, so Slippery is available to us now. Move up and eventually get Deadly Onslaught. It's a shame that the Master Assassin can't get the Assassin's Trophy skill, like the Assassin characters can. That skill is, like, awesome. It's incredibly powerful. So you're at 76 attack right now. Well, Bloody Blade is definitely the first move, either way. But he'll have Assassin's Trophy himself ere too long, my friends. Okay, Morlock appeared right here. That's handy. That's a good place for him to be. We will need to use him for intel, and also probably like a plague at some point. Alright, so I have almost all my magic stuff. What else do we want to do with this character? Oh, he can learn Brass Orb. We should probably do that. That should be our next focus. Also, plus 10% casualty replenishment rate to his army. Of course I want that. Oh. I do want that. Yeah. We'll take that over Enhanced Warp Lightning, but the final point of Warp Lightning enhancement is also extremely powerful, obviously. I have strong feelings about it. So... let's see. Vomik can actually, in March mode, get close enough to participate in these battles. So we should probably do that, right? We should probably, like, overwhelm them as much as possible. So if we march him into Grunberg, then he's close enough to fight those guys. We don't need him to fight the smaller army. Let's have Bilefitch walk out like 2 steps here along the road. Cool. Oh, actually, this is all going to be part of one battle, isn't it? Okay. There we go. If we pull an ambush off here, this is the greatest slaughter in the history of slaughters. If not, we still, I think, win pretty handily. But it's definitely more of a fight. Okay, we got the ambush, so... roughly 60 units of rats, plus the settlement garrison. You know, just 6,100 troops, that's all.
No use for this flesh.
Yeah, make it food.
Serve yourself. Scampers.
We still have upgrades to buy, right? And then you almost gotta feel bad for this dude. If he hadn't just
Schemes
embarrassed us on the battlefield, I would feel kind of sort of bad for him.
engineer.
Naked Claw is boy, what is he doing? So we have a couple of skill points left. Oh, he doesn't have maxed out Flensing Ruin, that's what he's doing. Now he's a Master Sorcerer. Then he's gonna have a couple of skill points left, and we'll figure that out. Show me an ambush? As if we needed the help, but I do appreciate it. You know, honestly, a mechanic is a pretty useful follower. Get 3 siege towers instead of 2 every time you do a siege tower build. We should put that on somebody. I don't know who. Recruit rank up for Doomflayers and Doom Wheels. Plus loyalty for Warlock Masters. I don't think this skill is worth buying. This one, maybe. Because if he could speed recruit Doomflayers like from the global pool and then pass them along to other people, that's a good way of keeping a reasonable number of them in the frontline armies. I'm going to go ahead and take that. I think that lowers his global pool recruitment rate. I guess he'd have to be in... Hold on. Encampment stance to find out. They're over here somewhere. No, but looks like he still gets them in 4 turns. Oh well. We'll just have to make sure that we build recruitment buildings for them. You're learning to assassinate people more effectively. Vomik is still leveling up off of big fights. So... we know what he's doing. Boy, that's a nightmare. A terrible thing just happened to me, so I'm gonna share it with all of you. The dog just came in here, gave me a significant look for a second. If you heard me sound a little distracted there for a second, that's what that was. She just looked right at me, and then turned around and walked out of the room. And it just now, I discovered what happened. She came in here and let loose a truly foul smell, and then just left. So, thank you very much for that. Apparently she's annoyed with me for playing video games too much today, I guess. You may as well wait in Grunberg. You're not going to be able to follow us anywhere. Do we want to try to grab the Sterlander before he gets into a good position? His army is only 14 units large, and it's got some not that great dudes in it, so I bet we could take him.
Fight me. You die. See?
Yeah, okay. Ikit Claw can make it into reinforcement position, and then Bilefitch can engage.
Sorcerer Inventor.
We may see some of the Skaven slaves die here. It's actually, like, remarkable to me how long they've survived. Nope, with the ambush and everything, yeah, I mean, we'd be on the rocket battery crew immediately, and we could just outrun the greatswords. The thing about the good human units is they mostly are pretty slow-moving. A couple of war wagons would be really dangerous against us, but the AI seems to not like to build war wagons. I don't even know if the war wagon is, like, considered a good unit. I just think it's really cool. Alright, so you can also pick up the Doomflayer thing. Oh, you only get one of the 3 things in this box. It's probably Weapons Engineer, then? Yeah. I don't think Construction Engineer makes a lot of sense, because he is definitely like a frontline army. He is not playing defense. So let's grab Weapons Engineer, which means next turn we get Brass Orb, which is very handy. Sadly, we do not have the movement necessary to cross the river. That's alright. We shall reclaim Kemperbad. It will happen. What do we do? 16,000 gold. The other army is still in full-on recruitment mode, so we don't got to worry about that. But we're going to see our income plunge pretty significantly on this next turn, because we're going to have to start paying the upkeep for all those units that are being recruited down there. Which is to say, I don't want to spend all of this money. Let's hold on to some of it. Also, 52 food is now... We have such a huge maximum food supply that 52 doesn't even get us out of the starving range. Terrible, terrible stuff. Okay, what other upgrades do we want? Randomly cast Warp Lightning in melee combat. It does seem pretty cool. Also, I appreciate the quote at the bottom. Yeah, let's grab some warp flares. Sounds like a winner. And then we have enough warp fuel for one more upgrade. So speed up, obviously pretty valuable. Bio interfaces, this is right. This is a characters riding Doom wheels kind of thing. Doomflare mounted characters aura leadership effect up. That's fine. Attribute Stalker for characters on Doomflares. Ooh, 12% ward save. Passive ability, Missile Resistance. Enemy blades and missiles are easily deflected by the whirling metal. That's crazy to imagine. Try to imagine what this is actually depicting, or what this would look like if it were depicted. It also gives them Sunder. I think we gotta take the Propeller Knife Blades. Missile Resistance and Sunder are both so valuable. And that unlocks for us a new melee weapon. Okay, that's pretty cool for one of the assassins. I mean, I think our assassins both have natural poison.
No devastation, like Icked's devastation. Yes, yes.
Oh, that's right. You're using the double barrel. I wouldn't give that to you anyway. Man, is it the case that the things unlocked by this can only be equipped by your legendary lord? Yeah, that other blue armor isn't appearing for anybody else either. That's kind of a bummer. That can't be the way that's intended to function, right? Especially since there are multiple different weapons that are made available. Or, yeah, I don't know. That's very strange. But really, the whole thing we're doing here is we're trying to build up to the black hole flares. We're gonna be going real deep on Doom flares in our armies, but also we want that regiment of renown. Alright, where else do we need upgrades? Oh, Marienburg. Do I want to prioritize upgrades for Gorsel? Probably. Yeah, probably. As much as I want Marienburg to be large and profitable, losing Gorsel would be a huge pain. And then up here, we're all positive on everything. So at this point, it is probably the case that we want to spend money like exclusively on income upgrades and security, right? And I guess we need to do this. We do need to get this place positive. So Montfort is almost walled. Castle Bastogne could be upgraded, but doing that doesn't actually get me any extra value. We're still accumulating population, although you do accumulate population more efficiently when the population surplus is lower. Because like when this gets to 3 next turn, the amount needed for growth is going to be probably in the neighborhood of 1,000 points. We're 4 turns off of being able to cap off Bordelot, which gets us access to this very good port. I guess we're just upgrading ports, probably. Each one of these is 150 extra gold for under 3,000 to upgrade, which obviously is a pretty significant gain. We have a damaged building. Oh, right. Yeah, that's important. Hold on. Let me drop one of those port upgrades. Also, there's money just out there on the water that we're not taking advantage of. We should probably fix that. Repair this. Can I also afford? Yes, I can. Alright, we gotta get Grunberg actually leveled up here. Grunberg is probably the most important of our minor settlements in the area as you get walls around. And we've had access to the 13th scheme and the dominating scheme this whole time. It's probably worth hitting the dominating scheme. I am not remembering to do this, but I should be remembering to do this. We could have cut one of the dock upgrades to run it this turn. I don't think that's worthwhile. I think we want that upgrade. We just got to get Grunberg with some defenses so that it can function as a front against Stirland for a while. That's more compelling. The number keeps getting higher. But, like, I'm not too concerned about her opinion of us. She is at 144 positive opinion, and the number is rising. She's not going to turn on us for failing to break our trade agreement. Oh, there it is. They're finally attacking Drakenhof. Nope, they backed off? Yeah, they moved in, then decided that they had something better to be doing, I guess? It's not really like dwarves to play with their food in this way. Usually you see them go for pretty decisive action. I wonder how the Wood Elves feel about the other Empire factions. If we could try to goad them into coming out here to help us, because it seems like their armies are in crusading mode. Which is a thing we might benefit from employing.
More kills, more power.
And once again, Morlock is wounded. The Chaos Horde has poured in, a remorseless tide scouring all in its path. Yet even the most savage flood must eventually recede, leaving battered survivors to pick through the flotsam on ravaged shores. We are saved, they cry, heedless of the fact that tides are certain in one respect. They will always rise again. And also in that other, we were just saying that they were certain in a different respect. So two respects. The old world has survived the onslaught, yet now another wave rolls forth from the accursed chaos wastes. Alright, so more chaos dudes. But the fact that that text even appears means that they're doing pretty well. They managed to put away the first wave of chaos armies. Not what I want to be hearing at the moment, actually. Well, maybe it's a good thing for us in that it means that the enemy is distracted. So, we have now finished this recruitment. There are 3 slots left in this army. What do we want them to be? Is it 3 more Eshin Triads? Maybe? Or maybe it's like 1 more Eshin Triads and 2 units of Halberd Storm Vermin, so that we have a couple of things that can just like stand a charge. Maybe it's some more ranged, maybe it's some faster moving range. We could get some what do you call it? We get some gutter runners and stuff in here, so that we have units that can flank quickly. But I guess if I was going to do that, probably what I would do is just take a Doom Wheel, honestly. I'm not necessarily opposed to just taking a Doom Wheel. Let's get at least 1 unit of Storm Vermin with Halberds so that we have that versatility. I think I want another gun unit. Alright, let's go Jezzails. Storm Vermin with Halberds. Do I want to put an assassin in the army, maybe? That's a thing we could do. I believe we have... Yeah, we totally have recruitment for... Oh, we also have recruitment for Eshin Sorcerers. I don't actually know what these guys do. How are they different from our recruitable priests? What is the magic you have access to? So you have concealment bombs, right? Brittle Bone. That's a big reduction in enemy defenses. The Black Whirlwind, a huge stationary area of effect, good against armor, disrupts formations, so it's going to like throw unit. When it says it disrupts formations, what it means is it knocks the units down or pulls them out of place. Armor of Darkness, 60 is a lot of armor. A Veil of Shadows, causes no damage, does not affect friendly troops. Barges into the target enemy, pushing them from the wizard's path with a blast of magical energy. So it just moves people around for 26 seconds. So it sounds like maybe it's intended to be used as crowd control, just keep an enemy unit from doing stuff for 26 seconds. Warp Stars, which is as a magic missile spell, this will just be like a laser that they shoot, essentially. Skitterleap, Skaven caster disappears in a puff of greenish smoke. And some Toxic Rain, which debuffs... Oh, whenever they cast, map-wide, all enemies lose all those stats for 8 seconds. Honestly, this doesn't seem like a bad guy. He's got a flat 30% physical resistance, really. You know what? That plus the fact that he has concealment bombs, I wonder if the Eshin Sorcerer is kind of a melee unit. Well, we have to have one. Right? We need to learn. We need to try it. What army would we put him in? It'd be a little bit awkward for him to be in Remamute's army, because he and Remamute will be feeding off the same resource. And I think every one of our armies currently has a spellcaster.
Ready. Warlock Master.
Yeah, we all have a casting lord, or the one non-casting lord has a pet warlock engineer. So I don't know where exactly we'd put him, but I do want to have one. I guess let's recruit him. We'll put him in this army. Maybe he won't be totally optimal for right now, But eventually we'll recruit another combat type lord, and he'll be leveled up and ready to slot into that guy's army. So I'm going to take... Perceptive is pretty good, plus 10% campaign line of sight. The vision range of an army is, I believe, the vision range of the highest vision unit within that army. So this does help him on the campaign map. Wish I had a better sense of whether these guys are good at melee combat, because taking that trait. Alright, one that serves to enhance their power and mystique. What I want is to be able to see their stats. I don't know why that's not a thing that's on this page. It would be super cool if I could just look at your stats. It's like, aggressive doesn't make any sense if he's not at least okay as a fighter, right? We'll take perceptive, I guess. Perceptive is good. It's a fine trait. Now we can see his stats. So, melee attack 35, melee defense 40. Honestly, for a wizard, that's pretty damn good. Low armor, but he's got some free physical resistance. Yeah, so he's not like a fighter, but he can hold his own in melee combat against like random guys. And he has a little bit of a melee combat line here. He never gets great at killing, but okay, that's really interesting. Obviously, we're gonna level up his spellcasting abilities first. I'd be curious to play with Veil of Shadows. Armor of Darkness seems like a lot of armor. Skitterleap probably less useful. Alright, so he'll roll into that army next turn. So we're still going to be... Let's see, those guys are 300 per turn, those guys are 363. So we're still going to be, like, at 1,500-ish gold per turn. We haven't completely murdered our income by doing this. And then Remamute can start pushing upward. We have to be a little bit careful about setting off the dwarves too much. I really, really, really don't want the main dwarf faction coming out of the mountains at us. But that really sounds like a tomorrow SB kind of problem. Because for right now, I think we are out of time. That's going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. There's a little bit of back and forth. They lose a city, we lose an undercity. They lose an army, we retreat, and then they lose another army. But we are going to push this line back. It's going to happen. Come back next time, tomorrow, to see how it does. And we'll see you then.